Hey guys, got another one for you. Might be kind of a story time kind of day, and so I might do a few of these back to back today. Hopefully you enjoy them, or let me know if there's more. If you want me to go into some detail on some of these, I'll do my best to try and keep an eye on the updates and come back to them. Um, but as some have seen, I think my one profile pic, maybe here, I do have every now and then I try and go snowboarding at different places throughout the country. Right now, I try and occasionally do Midwest, a lot of East Coast. I do plan to try out some of the West Coast, but I don't know. And I myself, I prefer snowboarding over skiing. Though I have tried skiing once, I just worry about my knees. It sounds so silly to say. I have friends and family who ski, and I'm definitely not one of those people of fighting about it. No, it doesn't matter. Have fun on the mountain. Be safe on the mountain, and whichever you feel the most comfortable on should be what you do because some mountains the color system of getting more and more difficult, it matters. And so definitely, enjoy within your comfort level to do it within an appropriate safety level too. So don't push yourself too much, or when you feel comfortable enough to challenge it, definitely do the first run slowly. And then once you're comfortable, you don't need to memorize it 100%, but at least know your technique's good enough to not hurt yourself or hurt somebody else. That being said, again, I'm on Team Snowboard. I have ridden a few different things, but this particular story was one of the first times. So I have quite a few years of skateboarding, more longer than I should have. I was skateboarding into my early 30s, and I did have to quit because I wasn't healing as fast if and when I fell. And so the risk reward, especially with some young kids on my side, having a small family, it wasn't worth it if dad keeps getting hurt over some very silly things. Some of them pretty funny. But for this particular story, is one of my first time snowboarding. I was snowboarding in a place called Winter Park over in Colorado. I enjoyed it. It is a little pricier than the East Coast, so it's not accessible for a lot of people. But for those in that area, it's a great like resort and very different, varying skill sets. But for those who don't know, when you're on the East Coast, their color systems are different than the Colorado style systems. So a green or actually I'll do better, a blue in the East Coast might be like a green, a baby in Colorado. So that green, blue, black system doesn't always link up when you're traveling across at least the United States. I would hope it's uniform in other countries, or at least a little better. But here I noticed that for sure. And so what was really funny is this is probably my first or second time we were going to this resort, but I have over 10 years experience skateboarding. And so my one cousin was warning me. He was like, "There's no way you're going to be up and running." And I'm like, "No, I'm going to figure it out, I promise." And so the first day was challenging, but I was able to hit a few of these Colorado greens. And I was feeling myself a bit. I was like, "Man, this is really cool. I definitely enjoy it. It's uncanny for those who've not done it. It's not like surfing, especially powder over that way. It's sometimes undescribable. For those who know, they know. But in the East Coast, it's a little bit more icy. It's inconsistent, and it's still a lot of fun. Good practice, and in my opinion, more affordable. And you guys let me know in the comments if any of this, maybe I'm not articulating it the best way I can. But to focus up on the story again, uh, it's my second day. I'm on Winter Park. It's been long enough ago, and I probably could have prepared better to get the names. If you guys want, let me know in the comments. I can look it up and really embarrass myself for the sake of this story. But this was probably back in early 2020 or around then, and we go there, and it's gorgeous. The resort is gorgeous, and like I said, the first day I was learning snowboarding and adapting. I got it. I hit a few greens. It was a good time, but I did notice, some of my brothers, some of my cousins, they're pushing themselves. They're doing some blues. They're doing the parks. They're doing some jumps. There's even a few tree runs there, if I remember correctly, that they were really wanting to do. And then they were talking about going to the top of the mountain. And at near the top of the mountain, maybe not the tip top of the mountain, but near it, was this like kind of cabin restaurant that you can get coffee and, maybe a burger. And it was really cool. Like, I just wanted to go up there. And it's day 2 for me. And they're like, well, you stay down here. You stay back. We don't want you getting hurt. And I'm like, well, we're a group. What am I gonna do? Like, stay here? Like, no. And the kids weren't with me. I was on this particular trip solo. And so without not getting hurt, I felt like my confidence level was there that at least I'd be able to get down slowly, certainly safely. And I was definitely comfortable in my boots with the snowboard. And so they leave. And I was sitting with my brother's girlfriend at the time, and he went up with my cousin. And so it's me, his girlfriend, and their friend. And so we're all sitting at the bottom, and they're talking about going and checking out some of these resorts. And that's where I differ with sometimes when this happens, is when I'm on a vacation, I want to do a thing on that vacation. So I'm not really good on like cruises and stuff like that because I need something to be the thing. So I would sooner go on like a golf trip or a snowboarding trip. And for me, that creates a kind of an experience that then when we're relaxing, I can enjoy the resort side because I'm tired. I want to relax. And I think that ties those things together. But I'm bad if it's just the resort. I wouldn't say that I'm bored, but that doesn't really, I can't flip that switch as easily. I need to do the thing, I enjoy it, and then I can enjoy the hot tub, the pool, whatever the resort may have. And so while we're doing all that, like I said, my brother and my cousin go up to the top of the mountain. I'm like, yo, I'm coming. And so I ride up the lift, and it was I knew the first thing, there was a red flag, was this particular lift was fully encased. It wasn't like a lift where it's a chair and the bar, like a quick lift, like to just the end of a run. This one's going like you're enclosed. And I'm like, oh, we're in this thing for a minute. And so we're going to the top of this mountain, again, Winter Park. And we get up there, and I was like, this is really cool. So I set my board down. I go inside. If memory serves, I got a cup of coffee and maybe something light, like some French fries. And so I enjoyed it, kind of a quick breakfast, so to speak. Or maybe kind of an early lunch. I know we've been at it for a bit, but we had been so divided. And I was like, no, I want to do what you guys are doing. Let me come with you. I made a mistake. So I get up there, and I'm just like, okay. The one turn, as soon as you leave the restaurant to the right-hand side, again, this is a few years ago now, so forgive my memory. But as I remember it, you leave the restaurant, you can grab your gear, and then there's 2 runs. And I believe it's either black and blue or blue and black. I may have the orders wrong. Again, I'm not looking at a map. I just have a template to make sure I don't forget. But and that's on me for poor planning. Maybe I can come back to it. Forgive me. But to keep the story as I remember it, I just am looking for green. Like, I've done greens all day. So I know I'm a baby there. But I just was like, I'll just do greens. And I see it's, like I said, blue and black. And I'm like, well, if you don't know black, that's the hardest. So I'm like, okay, I'll do the blue. And it's steep, very steep. And I'm like, oh no. And so I look back at the guy operating the lift. He's making sure people get off safely. It's like almost like an elevator kind of, if you don't know. And so I'm just like, hey, can I ride it back down? And he was like, son, if you got up here, you can get down. And I was like, oh, it's going to be like that. Like, I deserve that. Okay. And so I'm running it through my brain. I'm like, okay, and similar, if you're a skier, you think the pizza, you maintain slow speed. For a snowboard, I think they call it falling leaf. And so you maintain slow speed, but you make sure no one is coming in hot behind you, and you make sure certainly you don't hit anyone in front of you. But you just maintain your speed, and it's not snowboarding as you might see on TV or what have you, but it is an option. And so I'm like, okay, I'll do the falling leaf tactic. I'll take it slow. And so I get through that first turn, and guys, it's so steep. I'm still moving kind of quick, and so I have to maintain what are called S's to maintain what felt like pretty quick speed. And it's hard to judge speed on a snowboard. There's no speedometer unless you use a phone, or they do make some devices now that you can track it. I think sometimes on smartwatches too. But it felt fast. The wind is coming. And so probably in real life, it was only 30, 35 miles an hour, but it felt fast. And so I'm just like, uh-oh, this is faster than I signed on for. And so I'm trying to stop, or I do a really hard stop. Even though I'm doing the fallen leaf, I'd really stop, check my back to make sure I'm not messing up anybody else's line. And then I'm going back again. Well, in front of me is a tunnel. And I would describe it, if I do this story in person, I can describe it better. So let me think of the measurements. I would say the tunnel felt like, give or take, 6 or 7 feet in diameter. So there's no falling, and you pretty much have to bomb it. You have to approach it just tucked in, and then if you choose, really kick it out and hit the brakes afterwards, because the whole run is pretty steep. So I think it's just a cool effect because you can hear everything and it's echoing through this tunnel, and it's a cool effect. And you could fall, but everyone, you could tell, was of a skill level that was kind of the check. That was the moment to, really dig it in, get really cool mouse speed. And then I didn't know this. I did not look at the map. I did not make a good plan. But right after that was a very steep left turn. And I felt my stomach lift as I'm coming out of the tunnel, and I feel my stomach lift. I don't think I necessarily caught air, but it felt like that lifting sensation. And so I'm coming down this turn, and the last like kind of thought I have is, this is too fast. So I slam on the brakes, but I slam on the brakes too much on my heel side. So I slip out and I'm spinning on my back like a cartoon character. That I lost the edge. I didn't catch the edge, but I lost the edge, and I'm just spinning on my back with my snow gear, so I'm still sliding at a decent speed. And I come to a stop, and I'm looking at the sky, and it hurt, but that's what's nice with the powder. It didn't hurt that much. It was more the shock of like, well, I messed up. Okay. And as I'm looking at the sky, and I'm thinking like, okay. I look to my left, and there's this little 10-year-old girl. She come flying down the tunnel, hit. You okay, mister? And I was like, get the heck out of here. Like, what are you checking on me? Like, she's as old as my daughter at the time. I'm just like, thank you for checking. Like, please, my pride shot immediately down. That here's, I'm thinking I was good on the green, and she rode that thing backwards. That I was like, okay. My second thought was, obviously she must come out here often. But if you saw how confident and how she just hit it, and thankfully checking on me, I was like, oh man, thank you. And then her doing that, and again, must have taken too long to get up. I don't know the correct term here, and again, I could look it up, but I'd rather tell the story as I remember it. I don't know if they're called rangers, but there are people out there to make sure people are safe. In this particular resort at the time, there was yellow, and red, I think, was medical. So the yellow one, he came over and checked on me, and I'm like, my bad, I'm sorry, I was just catching my breath. And he even made a joke. He's like, oh, is that your daughter? I was like, nope. And he was like, she got you then, huh? And I was like, yep. And then he was like, if you go to the right, that's where the green is. And I was like, I've been watching, thank you. And I do think back, if the person running the lift could have just told me, like, avoid the tunnel, stay right, or I don't know if there was a way around the tunnel a little bit less than that, but I do remember getting to the bottom and surviving. And I was very close to, I didn't see any at the time, but I wanted to look for some people with like certain theme parks with the I survived X roller coaster. I wanted to find the name of that run and be like, I survived the tunnel of doom, or I don't know what they would call it there. And again, in the comments, let me know. But maybe this wasn't for everyone, but it definitely makes me think of maybe there'll be a time my daughters will be ready to try it out if everybody can stay in shape. We're over on the East Coast side of things, and so one, snow's not that frequent, and two, taking the family all the way out there, that could be very expensive, and so that's definitely one where we'll wait to see. But snowboarding definitely still holds a place in my heart. Even though I don't skateboard anymore, I think snowboarding being on, hopefully powder or softer, is assuming you can maintain that speed, a little bit less injury. But yeah, if you guys have any good ones, or you want to talk about anything, snowboarding, let me know. I am not that well versed. I have not been out. I tried to go at least once every season. We did, the Colorado trip was, like I said, maybe early 2020. As you know, COVID really changed things, which was pretty unfortunate. And then we did a few runs to North Carolina. There's a couple really cool mountains out there. Definitely more icy, I will say that, but also affordable in comparison. And then I do think I'd like to try the Northeast. But again, depending on price and whether or not I'm doing more of a family trip or if it is just me, we'll see. But I'm definitely out of practice, and it would probably be a green day or two to make sure I still have my boots under me. But wanted to share the story, and again, maybe let me know if there's ever been a story that's lighthearted and kind of humbled you, where you think you're confident, you got your boots under you, or it doesn't even need to be snowboarding. It can be anything. I'm always open to discussions, but figured I'd share, and there might be more to come. But hope all is well your way. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye.